I do record these meetings. I don't think anyone else shows up on them. I'm pretty sure we verified that, but I'll check again before uploading anywhere. But I do like teaching recording, so what the heck, it'll be fun. So we're going to start in a seated position, knees below your hips if possible. I often sit on a block, but you can also sit on like a rolled up sweater, a towel, a pillow, or what have you. Helps to sort of reset that pelvic area so that you're not sort of bending too far backwards or leaning too far forward. We'll just take a moment here and come into this space, come into this moment, become fully aware of our bodies, and just start to let go of the day. So as you breathe in through the nose, maybe take just an extra moment on the inhale. And then on the exhale, just do something goofy. You'll flutter your lips and let it go. Do that 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. You don't have to make noise. I like to make noise. Inhale. And exhale completely. Good. On the next inhale, we're going to raise our arms up to the sky. And exhale, you're just going to bring your right hand to the ground and find a gentle side bend, opening up the left side body. Take a few breaths here. You're really looking to anchor that left hip flexor into the ground as you open up the left side of your body. One more inhale. And exhale. Inhale brings you back up to center. And exhale to the second side. And again, you're looking to root that right hip into the ground so that you find the maximum length from the right hip flexor all the way up the right side body through your arms and out your fingertips. Good. Inhale brings you all the way up. And exhale, we'll just pivot over the right shoulder, left hand to the right thigh. And again, on the inhale, find a little bit of length. And exhale, maybe twist a little deeper. One more inhale. Exhale, twist a little bit deeper this time. Good. Inhale brings you back up to center. And exhale to the second side. If you're joining us just a few moments late, that's okay. We just did a little bit of breathing exercise, and a little bit of coming into the space and just warming up the spine a little. Good. Inhale back to center. And exhale, hands to your knees. Good. We'll just take a moment here, eyes closed, to find maybe your focus, your mantra, your drishti, or anything that is important to you today. And we'll hold on to that for practice. Maybe come back to it about halfway through. Maybe not. Maybe you'll forget again. But your focus is just something, a guiding light, if you will. So if you are in a moment of hardship, or pose is challenging, that focus, that drishti, that mantra, just bring you back. Come back to center. Good. And we're going to come forward into a tabletop position. We're going to spend a little bit more time than usual in tabletop because we're going to do a couple of my favorite poses. But let's get started just with a simple cat-cow. So inhale, dropping the belly to the ground, opening your heart forward. And then exhale, doming the shoulders, arching the back, coming into a cat position. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow one last time. Exhale, cat to finish off the pose. And then inhale back to neutral. So for a little bit of upper back opening, we're going to bring our right hand just a little bit towards the center and then open the left arm up to the sky. And then on the exhale, you're going to thread the needle. So bring your left arm under and through the window created by that right arm. And you might find that your head, the side of your head comes to the ground. That's okay. That's in fact normal. And you can open your right arm so that it comes to the top left corner of the mat, or maybe you try and reach around, grab the left thigh. And just breathe into that upper back. So this is a lovely upper back opening, super gentle, but oh so delightful. Good. Bring that right hand back to center. Inhale, open that left arm to the sky. And exhale, set it down. Good. There are two sides to every pose. Well, to most poses. So we'll inhale and open that right arm to the sky. And exhale, thread the needle for the second side. Now, if you need to go deeper in this pose, you're certainly allowed to. What I like to do is maybe extend the left leg out and back. Maybe raise the left leg up to the sky. This adds a little bit of a balance challenge to the pose. You don't have to do it. It's not really part of the original pose. But if you're looking to play with your balance, maybe you can bring that left leg up and back. Good. Inhale brings that right arm all the way up to the sky. And exhale, set it down. Good. For puppy pose, which is a pose that is probably my favorite pose of all time. From a tabletop position, you're just going to walk your hands forward and lower your heart to the ground. And the goal here is to bring the heart to the ground if possible, but you can feel free to lower your forehead so that your forehead touches the ground, whatever is comfortable. You're looking for an opening in your shoulders. And if you're looking for more of a difference in the pose, you can always try and walk your hands further forward. I actually don't know if this is easier or harder. It's harder for me, but my body is weird. Good. On an inhale, we're just going to come back up to tabletop position, gently walking our hands back. There's the sun. Good. And then we're going to bring that left foot back and go into a gentle calf opener. I went for a run this morning, so my calves are super tight. I'm just going to open up the back of the legs for a moment. And then on the inhale, you're going to raise that left leg up and back. And we're going to bend the left knee. And if you're comfortable doing so, we're going to bring the right arm to grab the outside of the left foot. Now, if this is a challenge to balance in, feel free not to do this. Or we'll see if I can do it today. The goal is to grab the outside edge of the left foot. This is a heart opener, chest opener. And in this pose, what you're looking to do is push the left foot into the hand. So you're activating your quad muscles really strong here. Good. And on the next exhale, let it go and set it down. Good. And we're just going to come to the second side. So right foot back, toes tucked. A little bit of an opening in the back of the leg before raising that right leg up, bending the right knee, and then bringing your left arm this time all the way back to grab the outside edge of the right foot. Good. I have a couple more shoulder openers that we're going to come to in a standing position later. I'm just going to go over them quickly because basically I do them every time I go through a doorway. So might as well share that with you. And then exhale, we'll set it down. All right, tuck the toes, raise the knees 1 inch above the ground, and warm up the core, that favorite part of the body. If you're super energetic, you can always take one knee up and then the other, but oh, that's hard. I'm not as in shape as I like to think I am. So when you're ready, when your core is warm, what you're going to do is you're just going to bring those hips back and up to the sky, maybe with bent legs to begin with. We're just going to make our way to downward facing dog. Now in downward facing dog, the important part is to open the shoulders and pull back with your hips. So what's important here is that your hips go back rather than your knees being straight. Good. On the inhale, we're going to raise that left foot up to the sky. And exhale, step it forward. Left toe, left foot between the feet, right knee to the ground, coming into Anjaneyasana or low crescent lunge on the first side. So there are a number of variations with what you can do with your hands here. If you're looking for a heart opener, you can bring your arms to the sky, or back bend actually, not a heart opener, sorry. And if you're doing this, maybe you cactus your arms to get a heart opener. So cactusing your arms, you just bring your elbows down. And maybe not falling over. Good. And then if you're feeling super energetic from this position, without changing your foot orientation, maybe you push down on the top of your right foot and come into a variation of a high crescent lunge for just 3, for 2, and for 1. Maybe bringing the right knee down. I'm in an energetic move. So if I offer variations that aren't comfortable to you, bring your hands down to the ground. We're just going to push back up into a downward facing dog. Maybe you flow through a vinyasa. Come meet us in downward facing dog. So I'm in an energetic mood. If I offer you a variation that feels uncomfortable, please just don't do it. And if you have any questions, I am happy to answer them either live on Slack or Zoom, or I can stick around after class. Inhale, right leg up to the sky. And then exhale, right foot between your hands, left knee to the ground, and open up to Anjaneyasana on the second side. Good. And what we're really looking for, so you might get a back bend, your arms to the sky, maybe you cactus your arms, but the primary opener that you're doing here is to open that left hip flexor, the left psoas, which is a big old muscle that gets short when you sit at the desk all day. And again, if you're feeling energetic and want to come up into a modified high crescent lunge, you can push down on the top of your left foot and come into a high crescent lunge, pushing down on the top of your left foot for 2, for 1, set it down. Good. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, either side of your foot, and make your way back to downward facing dog. Good. Inhale brings that left foot up and back. Exhale brings the left foot forward. This time you're going to pivot your right heel to the earth, and we're going to come into warrior 1. So your hips are going forward towards the front of the mat. And just take a moment here. Your hips should be forward. So if your hips start peeking out to the side, just try and shorten your stance a little bit. And what you want to do is use the outside edge of the right foot. Use that as an anchor so that you can come slightly deeper into the pose. Good. And exhale down. Hands to either side. If you're in a vinyasa mood, we can flow through a vinyasa together. Coming down to either lay down on the mat or chaturanga, inhale to an up dog, and eventually to a down dog. Good, and then inhale brings that right leg up to the sky. Exhale brings that right foot forward, in between your hands, left heel to the earth. Open up into warrior 1 on the second side. And in this pose, check in with your shoulders. Make sure they're going down and back. I do so love to gossip with your ears. And then exhale brings the hands down, either side of the foot as you push back. Maybe flow through a vinyasa and meet us back in downward facing dog. All right, what do we think? One more flow? One more flow. Inhale, left foot up. Exhale, left foot forward. Pivot the right heels to the earth. This time we're opening up into a warrior 2. We're going to take a moment here Check in with those pesky shoulders by pushing the world away from us with our hands. And notice how that opens up the upper back and shoulders and creates a little bit more space. Good. Inhale brings you into a peaceful warrior, opening up the left side body. And then exhale brings you into an extended side angle pose. So left arm to the left knee, and use the connection between the left elbow and the left knee, pushing together to open the heart up to the sky. Good. Good. Inhale back, brings you back up to a warrior two. Exhale, windmills the arms down to the ground, either side of the foot as you flow through a vinyasa perhaps, or just go straight to downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot up to the sky. And exhale, right foot forward. Between the feet, pivot the heels down. Warrior two, second side. Virabhadrasana two, warrior two. Good. Inhale brings that right arm up to the sky for a peaceful warrior. And then exhale, come into an extended side angle pose on the second side. Again, using that connective energy between the elbow and the knee to open your heart further to the sky. Good. Inhale back to a warrior two. And exhale, windmill the hands forward, plant the palms, maybe flow through a vinyasa, and meet me back in downward facing dog. Good. All right. Let's do something funky. Left foot up to the sky, and then left foot forward. You're going to keep the right toes tucked this time and come into a high lunge. So the difference here, between this and warrior one, is that your right toes are tucked instead of bringing your heels to the ground. All right. Now what you're going to do is you're going to bring the left elbow down and under, and then the right elbow over. So you're coming into Garudasana arms. So in this position, it's totally okay just to grab the opposite shoulders. If you're looking for a slightly deeper pose, maybe you twist your arms together, and maybe you even get your hands together in this lovely shoulder opener, upper back opener, I should say. Good. And then from here, doing a few isometric adjustments. So your shoulder should be back and down. Your arms should be trying to open. So what that means is you're almost trying to open your heart forward. And what that does is that drops your shoulders down and back a little bit more, activates the energy. And then maybe you find a gentle back bend. Good. And then from here, you can stay here, or if you're feeling slightly more energetic, you can come forward inside that front leg for a modified variation of humble warrior. So this is kind of humble warrior, except your back toes are tucked. Good. And it's a little bit harder to hold this pose. Inhale brings you all the way up. Exhale opens the arms. And then exhale, hands to either side. Flow through a vinyasa, or just meet us downward in downward facing dog. Good. Inhale brings that left foot up to the sky. And exhale forward. We're coming into high crescent lunge on the second side. This time you're going to come into Garudasana arms, but you're going to bring the right arm down first, left arm over. Remember, grabbing opposite shoulders is totally okay, or you can come into a deeper expression of the pose. Isometrically activate the back by trying to open your heart forward. Maybe finding a gentle back bend. And exhale forward into a modified humble warrior. Now in humble warrior, what you don't want to do is let your hip pop out too hard to the side. It's really tempting to let that butt go way off to the right side. Don't do that. Instead, use the connective energy between your right thigh and the right side body to find a little bit of stability in this unusual pose. Good. And then when you're sick and tired of this pose, inhale all the way up, unravel the arms, and exhale, come on down. Chaturanga, upward dog, and downward facing dog. All right. We're gonna come to the top of the mat. So just walk forward into a forward fold. So in a forward fold, so a lot of people bring their feet together for a forward fold. My body is not built that way. So what I actually do is I actually put about 1.5 knuckles distance between my feet. So 2 fists together. That gives me a little bit deeper expression of the pose. I think it's because I'm giving my beer belly a space to hang. Good. You should feel some opening along the back of the hamstrings. And the variation you can take here is if you bend your knees and lay your belly across your thighs, you'll actually open up the lower back a little bit more. Good. Inhale, come up to a flat back. Exhale, forward fold, slightly deeper this time. And then inhale, come all the way up, arms to the sky. And exhale, hands in prayer in front of you. Good. Did you expect this when you came to class today? I don't know. Well, hopefully you enjoy it. All right, tree pose. Shift all your weight into the right foot, and you're gonna bring that left foot off the ground. So you've built up a bunch of heat by going through a few flows early in class. And then when that right foot has all the weight in the foot, you can come into a tree pose. The gentlest variation of tree is just toes to the ground, heel to the ankle. You can always come a little bit higher, a little bit higher. And if you're super flexible or your hips are super open, you can always come into like a half lotus, but I'm not doing that today. Once you find your balance, you can grow your tree limbs by raising your arms to the sky and maybe fanning them out. And once you've found your balance, maybe close your eyes for just a moment. You can open them if you're about to fall. Good. All right. On the inhale, you're going to bring that left knee forward without putting the foot down. So it's coming out to the front. And then maybe you stay here, or maybe you straighten that left foot. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Before setting it down, what you're going to do is you're actually going to bring the left foot behind the right foot so that they're crossed over each other. And then you put your feet to the ground. So you're in a funky standing position. So you are right foot in front of the left. And then from here, inhale, find a flat back, and then exhale, forward fold. Good. And then in this forward fold, what you can do is you can maybe inch your hands off to the right side and find a little bit of an opening in the left hip. Good. And then inhale brings you back up. And exhale, hands to prayer, uncross your legs. And we'll come to the second side. So inhale all the weight now into your left leg. Have fun doing a production change. Inhale all the weight into your left leg. Right leg comes. Remember, the gentlest variation is just right toes to the ground, or maybe you bring it a little bit higher, a little bit higher. And then in this Tree pose, once you found your balance, found some stability, maybe you grow your tree limbs, bring your arms out and around. And if you're feeling super ambitious, maybe even close your eyes. Try not to fall. It's a fun experience. Good. And then inhale brings that right knee forward, straightening that right leg forward for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that right foot back. And again, cross that right foot behind the left this time. And forward fold into like a twisted forward fold pose. And from here, you can maybe bring your hands out to the left side this time, opening that right hip a little bit. Good. And then inhale, hands to center and all the way up. And hands down to prayer, and cross your legs and maybe shake it out. Good. Even though it's not sunny, it's still weirdly hot. Okay. For a lower back opener, we're next going to come into Malasana. So you're going to bring your feet about mat width distance apart, and then just settle down into a seated position. So if you're here and your heels come off the ground, maybe double fold your mat or stick an old t-shirt under your heels, because you really want your weight to be evenly distributed across the four corners of your feet. And once you're here, you're going to use your hands pushing together, the connective energy between your hands together, and then your elbows and knees squeezing against each other to come into a flat back position here. So in Malasana with a flat back. Good. And then for the opposite experience, you're going to let go of your arms and just crawl your hands forward to get a little bit of an opening along your lower back. So this is a weird pose, so sometimes you have to move your hips around a little to find that sweet spot. Maybe you have to bring your bum up a little bit higher. Maybe it needs to be lower, but you're looking to open your lower back. Good. Inhale brings you back to Malasana. And just take a moment here. If crow is in your practice, you can come into crow. Otherwise, we're just going to sit here for a few more breaths, 3 more breaths, and then flow through a quick vinyasa back to downward facing dog. Nicely done. Good. And crow pose, obviously you want to move with control. So no rapid movements, but maybe you bring your weight into your knees. And then push on back to Chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Good. All right. So from downward facing dog, we're just going to bring our knees forward into a tabletop position, but you're going to cross the right knee behind the left. So we're coming into Garudasana, if you recognize the pose. So Garudasana, your right leg behind your left leg, and then we're going to sit on back. So I know we did this on Monday. We're going to do it again, and we're going to do it with the Garudasana arm. So we did this before in a standing pose. So if your left leg is over your right, then you're going to bring your left arm under your right, and then come into that funky arm variation that we were in earlier today. Good. And from here, if you want a little bit more, you can basically raise your elbows to the sky, again, keeping those ears away from your shoulders, and maybe forward folding. Good. And then we're going to transition to the second side. This is my favorite transition. So first you're gonna open your arms. And then without moving your feet, you're gonna go in a clockwise position, clockwise rotation, 360 degrees. So without moving the feet from where they are, you should be able to come into Garudasana on the second side. Good. A bunch of people do this with headstand. There you go. But this is more fun. Next, you're gonna bring your right arm underneath your left arm and do that funky arm thing. Second side. And again, maybe you raise your elbows up. Maybe you forward fold. This opens up the whole chain along the back. And it's good for this upper back, maybe lower back. The Garudasana legs give you some outer hip openers. Good. And then inhale, come back to a seated position, unravel your arms. And then let's unravel the legs. So for additional shoulder openers, yeah, let's do those now. So I'd like to do shoulder openers. So there's like lying down variations of this, but I actually find, because I walk through doorways all the time, so the easiest way to get an upper shoulder opener is literally to find a doorway or some other edge or wall, and then basically open your heart up to the side. So what you're doing in this position is you're dropping your shoulders down, so your ears really need to be far away from your shoulders, and then you're opening your chest. So you can also do this facing on the ground, opening your heart up to the left side. But a doorway is so easy. I have no idea whether you can see me, unfortunately, but it's a lovely chest opener. So I'm doing this with a cactus arm, so arms cactus, opening the heart up. It's on the right side. And then we can do the left side, same thing. You can see my back. But again, you want to drop your shoulders down and open your heart to the right side. And you should feel an opening in your pec majors and mostly your pec minor on the cactus arm variation. No, your pec majors on the cactus arm variation. Good. And just breathe into that opening of your heart, of your chest. I will eventually name the right body part. An infinite number of monkeys and an infinite number of keyboards. Surely I can beat that. Good. Inhale, let it go. So a gentle variation on this is to keep your arms straight. So if you keep your arms straight, it actually activates a slightly different part of your chest, and you open up your pec minor a little bit more, I think. The upper one, whatever the smaller top one is, that seems like a minor muscle, right? And basically you're just using the force, the torquing force of twisting your body open to the left to open up some of the chest muscles on the right side. Again, this is a lot of fun to do on the ground, but I feel like it's a lot harder to see what I'm doing when I'm on the ground, so I'm just gonna do it while standing. Good, let it go, and then we'll just open up the heart. Straight arm this time on the left side, opening up the left pec minor, I think. And what's really important in this pose is to make sure that there's space between your shoulders and your ears. I know I say this all the time, but it's so critical to avoiding rotator cuff injuries, which I had to deal with a lot of when I was younger, and I don't really like them, so I would not wish them on anyone. Good. And let it go. All right, so we won't do this one now, but one of my favorite shoulder openers, if you're in a doorway, you literally just bring your arms above the doorway and hang your heart through. It feels amazing, and you can do it pretty much anywhere. So I have no idea if this comes across in the video. If it doesn't, I'm happy to stick around after class. But you're basically hands at the top of the door frame and pushing your heart and your head through. Opens up the shoulders, maybe some of that front side body. It's basically puppy pose, but standing. And for whatever reason, standing poses are just easier to do because you can do them without getting on a mat, without doing anything. Cool. So we're going to come back into a standing position at the top of the mat. Sorry for the interlude, but shoulder openers were top of mind for me today. So top of the mat, we're going to inhale, hands to the sky, and exhale, forward fold with a flat back if you can, for as long as you can. Inhale, back up to a flat back, and then exhale, forward fold one more time. This time, if you can, we're going to forward fold a little bit deeper, maybe by using your peace fingers to wrap around your big toe. And you're going to use that connective energy of your hands grabbing your toes, and maybe you use that to get a little bit deeper in this forward fold. And again, if you want more of a lower back experience, just bend your knees. It doesn't make it easier, it just changes the active muscles that are active. Good. Here for 3, for 2, and for 1. And let it go. And inhale to a flat back. And exhale, hands to the ground, and step on back. One last time to downward facing dog. Second to last time in downward facing dog. On the inhale, you're going to raise your left foot up and back. And exhale, you're going to bring your left foot to the outside of your left hand. So you're coming into lizard pose. So lizard pose, your left foot is basically on the outside edge of the left side of your mat. Your right knee might come down. You can try, if you want a harder variation, you can keep your toes tucked and try and keep your legs straight. And then if you need more, so you should get a lot of sensation in your psoas, your outer hips, maybe your inner hamstrings. And then if you need a little bit more, maybe you can bring your elbows to the ground. Good, and breathe into the parts of your body that are tight. And it seems like such an easy thing to do. Just bring awareness to the parts of your body that are asking for it. Good, and if you want an interesting variation on this pose called corkscrew pose, you can either stay here or come back up to your hands. Place your knee to the ground. And then, so a lot of people, what we do is we double fold the mat so that your right knee has a little bit of extra padding. As you bend the right foot and then reach back with the left hand to grab the outside edge of the the right foot. And this interesting weird pose is called the corkscrew, which is a really good quad opener. Opens up your quadriceps. And if this is hard on either of your knees, please come out of it. We'll stay here for 3 more breaths. Good, and then let go of the foot, bring the toes to the ground. You're gonna tuck the toes, maybe undouble fold your mat if you double folded your mat. And we're gonna push into downward facing dog with the left foot up. And to get a little bit of a hip opener, you're just gonna open your hips to the left, bend the left knee. We'll do one more counter pose-ish thing. Not quite a counter pose, but it feels good. Good, inhale, brings that left foot up, and then exhale, set it down. Good, inhale brings that right foot up to the sky. And then exhale, right foot forward to the outside edge of the right mat. And again, from here, you can either set that left knee down or try and tuck the toes and keep it straight. Maybe you bend your elbows or come down onto your elbows. For lizard pose on the second side. Good. And if you want to try corkscrew, you can lower your left knee to the ground, come back up onto your hands. Maybe double fold the mat under your left knee again as you bend the left foot and reach back with the right hand to grab the outside edge of the left foot and come into corkscrew on the second side. Three more breaths. Three more yoga teacher breaths, which always seem to last twice as long as my breath when I'm taking a class. Good, and then gently let it go. Bring your toes to the earth and push on back to downward facing dog for just a moment, and then come on down onto your knees. We're going to leave the toes tucked. Oh, you're totally right, Braden. We're going to come back up into a downward facing dog. Right leg up to the sky and open up your hips to the side. Well, it's one of the benefits of actually being able to see my students is when I screw up, I'm not the only one keeping me honest. Good. And then inhale, bring that right foot back down and set down on your knees. So screaming toe pose for just a few moments. Screaming toe pose, there's got to be a nicer name for this, but I don't know it. It doesn't bring me any joy to know of a gentler pose for such an exciting pose. So toes tucked, you're sitting back on your heels. If this is uncomfortable, you can bring your weight forward. You're just looking to open up the bottoms of your feet, your plantar fascia, I think it's called. And we'll be here for a moment. So just find something calming about this perhaps slightly stressful pose. If it hurts, come out of the pose, but if it's just uncomfortable, maybe sit in that discomfort. Maybe reflect on your focus, your mantra, and hold on to that as we sit for a few more breaths in this wonderful, if perhaps slightly uncomfortable, pose. Good. And then inhale up onto your knees, untuck your toes. And then my toes always feel a little stiff, so I always tap the tops of my toes on the ground, get a little bit of blood flowing in them again. And then we're going to come all the way onto our backs for some back bends. So onto your backs for wheel pose. I think we'll do wheel pose today. No, not wheel pose. I'll do wheel maybe later, but bridge pose. So you're going to bring your, so you're lying on your back and your ankles, feet are on the ground so that your toes can touch your fingers can touch your heels. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start by cat-cowing your back. So we're not going up into wheel or into bridge quite yet. What I want you to do is try to cow your back. So rotate your pelvis back, almost like you're bringing the middle of your back off the ground on the inhale, and then on the exhale, almost like you're taking a reclined cat position. Basically, tilt the pelvis forward and notice the sensation in your pelvis, probably your pelvis, as you come back, and then come back to a flat back. We'll do that one more time. Inhale to a cow-like position, an upside down cow. And then exhale, slowly, slowly, cat your back so that your hips start to come off the ground. And then instead of coming down, stay here. And then use that sensation of rolling your spine off the ground to perhaps come a little further up. You're using that anterior pelvic tilt to lift your back off the ground, vertebra by vertebra. Good, we'll be here for just a moment, but pay attention to the to what your body is telling you in this pose. So if you want to go deeper, you can always roll onto the top of your shoulders and try to reach your arms underneath, maybe grabbing opposite hands, interlacing your fingers. But what's interesting here isn't what your shoulders are doing, it's what your back is doing. Good, and then exhale, unroll your spine down to the ground vertebra by vertebra. We're going to take that cow position one more time. So inhale, arch your back. And then exhale, come all the way up, continuing that cat-like position until your pelvis is high off the ground. Good, and in this position, imagine that you are squeezing a block together with your knees. If you have a block, you can put it between your knees and squeeze it. It's a lovely sensation. And what you do by squeezing the block together with your knees is you activate the muscles in your lower abdomen. That gives you a lot of protection for your lower back. So the lower abdomen, when active, protects the lower back a lot, right? Keeps you from doing things that you shouldn't do to your lower back. Good. When you're ready, exhale to unravel the spine to the ground. And then inhale one more time. Take that upside down cow. And exhale, push up into bridge, sorry. I don't know why I've got wheel on the brain. Maybe it's because I was eating cheese earlier. Good. And in this wheel, continue bringing that awareness to your lower abdomen and your pelvis area, your pelvic muscles. Now, try to roll onto the tops of your shoulders and maybe bring your hands underneath and interlace your fingers. Maybe your glutes are working super hard right now, and that's okay. They're allowed to work. Last I checked. Good, and then release the hands if you have them bound, and we'll unroll the spine to the ground and lay your legs long for just a moment while I check the time. Oh yeah, we've got time. All right, so we're gonna take one reclined twist. So you're gonna lay your right foot down on the ground, bring your left foot up so that your knee is above your hip. And then you're going to twist closed. So take that, you're bringing the left knee over to the right side and you're finding a twist to open up the left side body. So the right leg is straight, the left knee is bent, and you may be opening your left arm off to the side in a T-shaped position, and maybe you're even looking over that left shoulder. Maybe you take a closed eye gaze. Good, and imagine somebody was pulling your left hip, away from your body. You can simulate this by maybe taking that left hand and pushing down on the left hip. It's a little tricky to do, but if you bring the hip down, you get a different opening in the left side body. Very interesting opening. Good, and then exhale, untwist your legs. Maybe squeeze that left leg in for just a moment, and then set it down. Inhale brings that right knee up. And we're just gonna find a twist on the second side. So your right knee is up, going off to the left side of the mat. And your right arm is opening up. Maybe looking over the right shoulder. Good. Inhale brings that right leg up. Maybe give that right leg a squeeze for just a moment. And then set it down. So we have time for one more pose. That pose is dealer's choice. So whatever pose brings you most joy. Maybe you take happy baby or plow or shoulder stand. I'm going to take plow today, but please don't feel the need to copy your instructor. He doesn't really know what he's doing anyway. And if you're in happy baby, you're just reaching through the window of your knees to grab the outside edge of your feet, trying to bring that flat back to the earth. And getting a lovely opening sensation in your hips. And if you're doing one side, come to the other. And slowly and with control, come down to Shavasana. Shavasana, let your arms and legs hang long and loose. And let go. Let go of any sensation you have in your body. Let go of your breath. And just exist in this moment, in this space. And feel the loving embrace of the earth as it holds you and fully supports you in this resting pose. We will be here for about 3 minutes. Don't worry, if you have a 5 o'clock meeting, you're not going to be late. I will end a couple of moments early. And we'll just sit here in this pose for about 2.5 minutes longer. And just like you let go moments ago, come back. Come back into this space, into this world, into this place, into your body. But bring something with you. Bring something joyous, wonderful, loving, affectionate, or important with you into this world. Bring more of what you want in this world with you as you bring awareness to your fingers and your toes, your ankles, your wrists, your elbows, your knees, and those lovely integration points at your hips, your neck, and your shoulders. Maybe roll onto one side using the arm as a pillow as you formally rebirth yourself into this world. And when you're ready for it, come on up into a seated position using the strength of your arms. And find your hands together in prayer, eyes closed. There's no rush. There's no need to be here. Just be. The light and love that all of you share with the world is glorious. I see you, I appreciate you, and thank you. Namaste. Again, my name is Yon. I'm teaching every Monday and Wednesday, at least through COVID-19, or the shelter in place, I should say. I'm trying to record them, so if you missed the class, hopefully they'll be on YouTube at some point. Ooh, excuse me. Otherwise, have a lovely rest of your Wednesday. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Jan.
Thank you.